Saludo, mi gente. Welcome to Dismantling The Fuckery, the podcast where we deconstruct the illusion and unleash the fabulosity. I'm your host, Kohenet Angelique, your fierce neurodivergent Jewyorican poet and an advocate for decolonial liberation. So get ready to dive into the messy, uncomfortable, and transformative work of dismantling the systems of oppression and the limiting beliefs that hold us back. We're here to reclaim our power, embrace our magic, and rise into fabulosity. So grab your cafe, your té, I don't know, maybe you need a shot, and let's get into some fuckery. Saludo, mi gente. So, bueno, first of all, ¿cómo estás? I hope that you are good. I hope that you are being deeply nourished and that life is just feeling, bueno, sólido. So I was just watching a video about it's about human design and the lines, and I was thinking about business and spirituality and the intersection. I'm going to call it an intersection for a very baseline perspective. Or maybe more earthy perspective, but there's no separation. To me, there's no separation. It's all one. But I think that one of the things that I began when I first started my business, or just, coming out the gate, I started to, before I did it, I did my homework. And when I started it, I did my homework, right? I made sure that I had the understanding about how I was offering a service, what were the parameters of that, all of the stuff, along with then thinking about brand or thinking about clients or customers. I knew that my spiritual gifts, the calling on my life, my design, right? What I'm here to do is the very work that I do, right? It's liberation. And the source of the place of its origin is coming from a spiritual context, a spiritual praxis, right? And because that is the root of it, it became then for me very clear that I was going to need to look for much more spiritually aligned business information versus just hopping on every fucking, I got a program that's going to take your business from 0 to 100, hit the pain points type of thing, right? I already exposed myself to a lot of different type of marketing techniques, all of the things, right, that one would do or try to learn in order to really, grow your business and be able to support yourself from it, create a livelihood out of it. And everything that I encountered centered the manipulation and the illusion, right? And I noticed how much things were about the solution. And the solution to the point, not for your liberation or for your growth or change, but the solution because you're going to pay me so I can give it to you solution, right? And when money is the primary driver of anything, not because inherently it's evil or any of that shit, that's not the case at all. It's an energy form, right? That in our dimension, we use it as exchange. Otherwise, it's just energy, right? And so here's this thing that it's not even the villain. But yet the people's handling of this concept, of this energetic concept, have used it to abuse, to dominate, to control, and have not done justly with it, right? That's the real fuckery. And so for me, there was this I felt such a deep tension about this, literally tugging just back and forth about how this doesn't feel right. And this is not how I want to move in the world. This is not how I want to bring my healing gifts to the world, to the larger world, right? Because in my own little community, people were already aware of my particular giftings or my strengths, however you want to name that, right? And so when I thought of this thing, I could not fathom prioritizing the exchange of the money over the integrity of the relationship and the actual long-term impact of the healing. Like I couldn't it wrecked me. I was like, this is not possible. It's not possible that in order to do my work in a way that, we don't have we have chickens, but our barter system, our exchange system is not chickens anymore. It's fucking money, right? So like, you would give me chickens before, you would put meat in my in my home or whatever, right? The exchange, that I am sustained, you're sustained. We're mutually interdependent. And that's really powerful, right? So we have a lot of community movement nowadays that are like, you know what? We recognize that we can only make it together, and that to me, beloved community and the ways that we can step into also creating like, eco villages, shout out to Joel, who, for a bit I got to rock with him and the eco villagers, and they're amazing people with a fucking soul that is just, it's powerful, right? It's powerful to want to move equitably in the world so that everyone is resourced and everyone has access. And so when I'm looking at business and doing business from a spiritual context, I was like, wait a fucking minute, I want to make sure that I could pay my light bill and all of the good things, but that can't be the driver. Like, that feels out of integrity for me. But I also know that I can't go all the way to the other extreme of like, it's blasé because I have to pay my rent and I have to pay my light, right? And that when I'm deeply nourished as a healer, when I'm able to care for myself and be with spirit, right? Be in that space where I'm connected and there's not as much distraction in my field, that increases my capacity for the work that I do or when we cross paths, right? So that I'm like, yes, my nourishment is solid. I'm resourced. And therefore my resourcing resources you, which in turn resources somebody else, and so on and so forth. So it caused me to really it took me a while to gain access to information that we would call alternative. It's like, how the fuck is equity an alternative? That's fucking bananas to me, right? How is that an alternative? That's crazy. But here we are, right? Where it's like, it's optional. But for spiritual folks, activist folks, all of that, however you're moving in the world and what you believe that to be, but it's driven by something more than just like, this might be a good business plan or a good hobby, to be about the fuckery of change and justice. And so having that, realizing that shit, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what do I Google, right? Like, what do I put in? Because I didn't grow up exposed to anything but these two worlds that seem to be at odds, the spiritual world and the secular world, right? So if we I had to go through the process of, lowballing my prices. I had to go through the process of then trying to charge whatever, but realizing that what I was charging, I couldn't even pay. What I was charging, I couldn't even pay. And that there was a tension in that shit as well. Right. And so there's a lot there to have unpacked, right? Because what that's actually about is really getting to the root of me understanding the enormous value of what I do or of my gifts that live in service of humanity. And that requires me to equally take exquisite care of myself. And that for me to step into that, the people that could pay me, that have access to pay me, help me get replenished. And in my replenishment, I'm able to also offer those who are unable to pay me an offering as well. And that I didn't have to choose. But that took me a while to really get a hold of or see what potential function this could have in my work, right? Which I knew I wanted to run online courses. I knew that I wanted to coach. I knew that I wanted to do healing sessions. I wanted to teach spiritual, concepts and practices. There was so much that I knew that I wanted to do. And so being able to kind of go through this breaking down of it to understand how I could do it in a way that made sense, that honored each person in the exchange, and that treats each person with dignity. It treats me with dignity as somebody showing up in love with our humanity and wanting to serve us in this way. It preserves the dignity of the person who has access to more and often is looking for places and ways to kind of, sew back in. So here's an opportunity to do that. You don't have to walk around with fucking guilt. You just share, right? You share what you have, knowing that more will come in. And so I feel like and then there's that. And then the person who cannot pay, who's not in a position to pay, well, here there's this moment, and I figured out, that I can charge if whatever my course was, per person, if I charge this particular amount, it would cover 2 people. Or if they were willing to pay for another person or the other half, right? Or to just give entirely a free seat or a free thing, that was fucking dope, right? So I figured out it took me a while to work out this journey of how can I be in service without being disconnected? How can I be in service to humanity without abandoning myself? Because those are questions. Now, some of that stuff, some of those pieces took me so much longer later on, right? It's like this slow journey of oh, wait a minute. What do I believe about money? What do I believe about resource? So on and so forth, right? What do I believe about exchange? Do I believe in reciprocity? Do I believe in exchange? And on top of that, if I was going to be committed to ensuring that my own community, myself, could have access to shit, then I needed to make sure that the people coming into the programs, coming into the sessions, were people whose hearts were there. That's what they wanted to be doing. They got it. They got, I have more. I may have had opportunities here that someone else didn't have. And I don't need to walk around having a pity party about it. Being oh, I'm just the same. I don't have to do that shit. Why? Because I'm actually in relationship. I'm actually no, I understand what's going on. So I work through how can I share? How can I sew back? How can I give? How can I move the energy forward, not stay stuck in guilt? Right. And to me, those are my people. That's the people I want to work with. That's the people I want to be fucking with. Right. It's the people who are taking the time to look at their entire lives and be what's the fuckery? Let's dismantle it. I'm not going to stop engaging in this because it's so dense or intense. I'm not going to do that. Nah, we're going to go in. We're going to look at it. We're going to say, yes, this is true. And we're going to fucking do the next thing. And we're going to do better because we fucking can. Those are my people. Right? Those are my people. I fuck with that. And those are the type of things that I think begin to open up even more possibilities, because now we become a tribe of people wanting to do work in the world and wanting to support each other and transform it by our very fucking existence and the way we do shit in the world, right? The way we are, being our fullest, truest selves, living in the multiplicity of our spirituality in all the dimensions. We are bad motherfuckers at every level, in every way. And so for me, there's this thing around like, even as I move through this journey, staying so steadfast on the fact that there has to be a way to do this shit that amplifies both of us, that blesses all of us, that doesn't leave just one of us hanging out, or that I don't have to become somebody else or do some sort of other schemy thingy BBB, right? Like that shit, just so that I can make sure that I'm okay. Because how could I not care about you being okay? How could you not care about me being okay? How could you not care about that? Right? Like that's the way I think. I'm like, why do I have to use some sort of tactic to be like, hey, we just spent 3 hours talking and your life is being transformed in the moment. Praises be to all the things, right? Because it's not all, the credit's not all mine, right? I'm blessed in a way that creates a space, that creates an impact, that transforms. I'm not sorry about it. I ain't sorry about it, right? And if I'm doing that and you know that here I am sitting and we spending time like that and we are exchanging, then how could you not care that I have a light bill to pay, that I have a roof to put over my head, that I have, I may have to take care of my body physically because the stories that I'm able to help heal and transform now, right, being part of that healing process is because I've been in the fucking fire my goddamn self. I'm not talking from some book on the side of the street that gave me the ABC. I'm not talking because I worked with people who went through and therefore I have some like faux side ass information. That is not the case here. The fucking case here is that I've been through fire. If I have stories to tell, I have experiences that they were crossroad moments, that I chose life. I chose to be here. I chose to keep on insisting that there is a calling. There's something about the fire inside of me, and I want to share it with the fucking world, no matter who it is. I want to go out there and I want to be like, for those that can hear and are listening, hey. For those that cannot hear, see you later. You can't force anything. But I knew that I had a determination to do the thing, right? And that the virtue of that, how could we not care about how we are doing? How could we not care about each other in this way that I'm going to say, I am going to offer something to you as a gift, goodness, as a gift, and saying thank you for the time so that you're covered. Thank you for the love, right? And if it's not, here's a gift of monetary exchange. It's like, hey, let me, I don't know, change your tires. I don't know, whatever the thing is. Because actually, when we're taking care of each other, that we don't have to prioritize creating some sort of, I don't know, banner that says, hey, I put up shop. But that the exchange is powerful and the exchange is an equal measure in dynamic reciprocity. Not just like this, like, oh, I give, you give, I give. Not that shit. But this thing where the compulsion is to give and receive, and the dance moves well. And people are nourished by each other, actually, for a fucking change. And nobody has to be like, hey, I haven't been able to eat in 3 days. Before you know that they have a need because you're not even fucking connected. Right? And so I think that what I'm saying about all of this, long story, but what I'm saying is that you get to stick to that fucking voice in the center that's telling you that something's off and that there's another way. It has to be that there's another fucking way. I want you, if you've been like the fucking prophet in the desert, you know, screaming, hollering the message, and then you're like, you're burnt out, your ass is, your mouth is dry. Your mouth is fucking dry because you're out there hollering, that you can find the support you need. That you are not left out in the rain, right? Like that thing. And that in addition to that, you have got to fight. And remember why you came here to do this fucking work. Fight to change the way we do branding, the way we do marketing, the way we do money, the way we do change, the way we do clothing, all the fucking go. Do it. Be it. Be tenacious about it. Go get it. It's yours. Go get it. Be who you are actually. Come from the center of your being. What in the fuck are we here for if not to fully gift, lay out before integration with, and be an offering to each other? What are we doing? So if you've been having some sort of fucking argument, which for me at this point, it feels like an argument, because still to this motherfucking day, when I talk to somebody about business, or when I'm talking to somebody about putting their work out, their being out into the world, and what the fuck I put in the driving seat is goddamn spirit. Right? And that's the thing that I center. I center the energy of creativity. I center the way that moves and heals the world to tell stories. I center the muse, the thing, the fire, the source. Because when the source of the thing is centered, when the love and the passion, it is not work. It is not laborious. It doesn't feel like it's some sort of burden. It feels amazing. Right? It feels amazing. And so I think that if you have been walking a path and you've been sticking to your guns on something and it hasn't been as successful, right? Like in terms of the end result, or that it's a longer path, or whatever the case may be, or you feel like your business has been slow, or you haven't been making money, etc., not supported in that way, whatever your thing is, because you're believing that there's another way and you're trying to figure it the fuck out, right? You need to follow that fire and never let it go, and do not compromise it anymore. If you believe that things can be different, go on and be the fuck different. If you believe that the stars are songs in the sky, for fuck's sake, do whatever you must to make sure to keep that alive. To be determined and fucking bullheaded enough that no matter what you're told, no matter how much people are like, that's crazy, that's not the real world, it doesn't make sense, that your faith in that thing does not shake. Baby, that is what you're here for. That is what you're here for. That thing, that fire, that fucking thing that you can't seem to let go of. You can't seem to run from. You could run and you could hide, but it will find you under a rock. And you will walk in the other direction and it will call your name. You could talk forever about it, be there forever with it. And we need that. We need you in that way. So the moral of the story is, I know the journey is long, and that's relative. And I know that you have been through it, right? Through the fucking ringer. I know you've been through it, and yet still here you are, and there you will fucking be. That is what I want to see in the world. That is it right there. That is it. That's the shit, that type of determination. When I think even now, right now, I'm rebuilding my things in a much more solid way because I've been burying my parents and fucking trying to recover my life. And that it has been so much. And so much, so much in the stuff that's moving, but not enough to really sustain me. So by the caliber and the measure of the world, it looks like, oh shit, right? Like, why aren't you doing okay? Why aren't you, making crazy money? Or why aren't you really landing the blah, 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 blah? Well, because I actually spent my time doing my homework, so that every move that I'm making moving forward is actually integrity filled and aligned. That I actually understand the foundational values that govern the equity that we want to transform the fucking world with. And if it doesn't begin with me and the way I run my life, run my business, and it doesn't actually, I'm like over here in fucking like, the spiritual world, and then my business is like in another fucking world that's bananas. It's crazy, right? And so it's like, here's this thing. Here's this thing. And I'm sticking with it, right? How do we share the gifts how do we do this thing? How do we make sure that everything inside of me and inside of my life and everything that I touch and create is actually integrated? It doesn't ignore the secular world or the natural world, or however we want to look at it. It doesn't ignore what is present. Neither does it abandon or deny that the thing that drives the car, the vehicle, is spirit and not the money. And that the money is a thread of energy that is part of reciprocity that can look in so many different ways. This thread just so happens to be dollar bills. So, if you've been going at it for a long time and things have been challenging for you and you've been trying to, put it together, figure it out in addition to the experiencing of your own life, then I want to encourage you. I want you to embrace that fire and keep going every step. Do not surrender. What you're imagining, what you are dreaming of is not only possible, it already is. It is real. It is real by this was fucking me up for a minute, right? Because it's like you're trying to figure out how to be here, how to be in the multiplicity of the worlds that we're living in and the experiences and the realities. And when this shit sounds like woo, your fucking neighbor, you don't even know their entire universe. And they're having a different experience than you are. So you can see the same shit and your fucking neighbor says one thing and you say another. So we already live in that. Right? So this is not some next level. I don't know that doesn't sound, it already happens. So then here's the thing. What do you want to be doing? And what I want to see in the world is I want to see people being authentically their fucking selves and bringing all that sexy ass brilliance to the table to transform the world, to give us all fucking options. More fucking options. I don't have to be like Kohenet Angelique. I don't have to be like, whoever and whatever. I don't have to be like this. I could be me. And I'm fucking lovable enough. I'm fucking divine enough. I'm fucking erotic and sensual enough. I'm fucking all the things enough to be a human. And that my energy and everything that I bring is a gift. And so is it whatever anybody brings to me, it's a gift. And I treat it as such. Not like some, wanky shit. This is the gift we're giving each other. It's each other. So I need you to fucking be the fire that you are. And I hope to see you doing the thing that you love. And I hope that in the thing that you love, you're allowing yourself the privilege of what you give to so many others. Like you give it away, like you're giving away like Skittles or candy. And when you're doing that thing, you have to understand that that's nourishment for people when you're so kind and so generous. But where's your nourishment? Where's your nourishment for you, like what you give to you? And I want to see that, because that's the shit that I am committed to, and that in my own life I've had to work through the tension of and be with the like Okay, my mom died. Okay, my dad died. Okay, my grandmother died. Okay, the divorce was a fucking goddamn hot mess and painfully traumatic. The experience was traumatic. The child, right? Like, I could be with the shit. Be with it. It doesn't define me. It doesn't define me. It's part of the story. It's part of the story. Everything about you is part of the story. I don't want to be like, the guru at the top of the thing. I'm walking the fuck with you, the same journey. I just have different gifts that I offer. And my gift so happens to need support in a different way so that I could be in the fullness of it. Yours may look another way. And that being this unique person that you are and that I am is what is fucking powerful. So anyway, that's it. That's the fucking, I was like sitting here and I'm like thinking just like how long I've been holding on to this, my business and my work by a thread, man. During my divorce, my shit was so bad. Like, my mind was so bad. I was in so much pain. And I still showed up to teach. Because I could manage to teach this thing that I was, that I knew. And I showed up for that. This shit is, because I love us. I love us. And I think we're worth always fucking going and stepping in for. And coming out for and coming through for. Because I don't need to be perfect to do that. I don't need to be perfect to be there. You don't need to be perfect to be there. But be the fuck there. Right? And so for me, this is what it's about. This to me is the most powerful fucking medicine. So I fucking love you. I hope that this has been nourishing. I hope that it's, it feels like, And also, I think this is just going to be the first the first podcast I'm putting on YouTube podcast. So, hello, it is I, Kohenet, yeah. Anyway, all right, I'm going to stop because I feel like I'm a little hungry and I'm going to go eat. But again, what are we doing? We are all priestessing liberation. We're all holding the torch toward that. And in that process, we have to dismantle the fuckery. But while we're dismantling the fuckery, we also have to unleash the fabulosity. We also have to get hot with it and fabulous with it, because otherwise this shit gets boring and you're waiting until the whatever to make it better, but you're not in the now. And that is the how. The how's in the now. That was some Dr. Seuss shit. You saw how it just happened, right? But that we can't keep on being in the future in some sort of like you're jumping the timeline ahead, but you're not coming back to the here now too. In order for this one to change, you've got to come back with that energy into this lane. So come back and let's do this. Let's step in, let's step up. And if you need some support, you know what to do, priestessingliberation.com. If you want to step into an energy session, you know the deal. You go check the shit. If you're listening to me and you don't know me and this is the first time you're meeting me, you're going to discover the shit, right? Go check it out. But I'm here for it. I'm here for walking with you. And that don't mean we will walk forever together. But it sure the fuck means that when the time is right and it's a divine assignment, it's time to get free. And that's where I'm here to support you. And I know you'll support me. I'm telling you I am. I'm fire right now. Anyway, all right. I'm going to go. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Adios, mi gente. Bueno, mi gente. Thank you for joining me on this wild and liberating journey of dismantling the fuckery. Remember, we are the architects of our own liberation. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your people. Do all the things. You know what it takes for us to keep these frequencies rolling. Together, we will transform the world from a place of fuckery into a realm of unapologetic fabulosity. Stay fierce, my loves. Stay fabulous and keep dismantling. And if you want me or need me, yes, you heard me say that right, you know where to find me at priestessingliberation.com. Nos vemos ahorita. Adiós.